Hello everyone. It is Friday in my time. I think I'm gonna get this posted on Saturday, but it is Friday, thankfully. It was a very long week. It was a good week. And that's what I'm here to talk about. The good, wonderful activity that we did, and I'm going to share it with you. If you are new here, my name is Megan. I am a social science education major, and I'm currently in the middle, literally in the middle of my internship, and I'm going to graduate in May. So it's so crazy to think that I'm in the middle of my internship. Like, that's so hard for me to believe, but I'm also very glad because halfway done. But so this week we started our unit on the Mediterranean. So I am teaching world cultural geography, and so when we talk about the Mediterranean, the whole emphasis on it is that we are analyzing the Mediterranean, so the Greeks, the Romans, what happened in Portugal and Spain, and connecting it to the present. And this past week we talked about the Greeks. So I had this brilliant idea that I wanted to do like a simulation / debate project, because on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, I got officially observed for the very first time, which means I'm going to get a grade for how well I did. So I said, well, I've always been a go big or go home type person. So I said on Wednesday when I get observed, I want it to be student-centered, because my teaching philosophy is very much so like the students need to engage in their own learning. And I don't believe that, like, at least for myself as a teacher, that I should just be up there talking at them the whole time, because I guarantee you when they discover the information for themselves and make connections and have to engage in their learning, they're actually going to remember the content for much longer, not just be able to, throw up the material on the day of the test and then forget it the day after. I said I want to have them do research and then debate. So what I did was Athens versus Sparta. So if you want to find out what the simulation was about, how my kids did, and how my evaluation went, you're in the right place. Just keep watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is sort of break down like how I got the idea and my like thought process and how the simulation was going to go. So basically, I just decided that I wanted to do something innovative. And Athens and Sparta is so easy because there's so many good resources out there. But I didn't want them to just fill out a compare and contrast chart. I was like, no, there's so much opportunity here to do more. So even if it takes like a day extra than we were going to spend on it, I think it's worth it and the kids will actually enjoy it. So what I did was I went on teacherspayteachers.com, literally typed in Athens and Sparta debate. I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he had a packet for it. It was like $4.99, and usually I like making my own stuff, but I was like, I'll support the community because eventually one day I'm going to want them to support me. So I bought his packet, and really I only used the first page from it, so like the synopsis, like setting the stage, and sort of like his guidelines, but that's really the only page I used. But I will link his Teacher Pay Teacher page below in case you are a teacher and you are interested. I'm going to show you guys the stuff that I made, and I would post it on Teacher Pay Teacher, but I can't really post it without including some of his stuff as well. So if you want a PDF copy or a Microsoft Word copy of the pages I'm going to show you, feel free to email me. My email will be linked down below. I would be happy to send you my stuff. You want his stuff, you gotta pay for it. So that covers how I found my resources. So next thing is like doing it. So I'm going to get one of my packets and then explain the whole simulation to you. So the debate revolves around 3 groups: the Athenians, the Spartans, and a third like random group called the Catossians. So basically, like in a nutshell, what happens over the course of, I spent 2.5 days because my kids, all my classes were like out of order. Like one was ahead of the other because of a half day. So I had to get everybody back on track, and this was my way of doing that. So you have your 3 groups. I let my kids pick their groups because I'm giving them an inch of freedom, and if they mess it up, like, you're done. I'm picking your own groups. And you'll find out at the end how that went. So this is my packet. Every single student got a packet with the same information sheet on the front. Basically, this is just setting the stage for the mystery group coming into Greece, and the group has to choose after the debate whether they would want to live in Athens or Sparta. Literally just instructions right here. And we do this so your students don't have to ask you questions every 5 seconds. The next page, so this is an example from Sparta. So it literally just says, you are a Spartan. And here is a chart where their group members can fill out who does what role. The big thing about group work is that if somebody doesn't have a role, they're not going to do anything. If each person isn't held accountable for one certain, job or assignment, it's not fair to everybody else. So the very first thing I had my students do after they broke up into groups was figure out who was going to be in charge of what. Now, my classes are interesting because I have one class that has 16 kids and I have another class that has 27. So it was honestly night and day. My class that has 27 in it, I was most nervous for them to do the assignment, and of course that was the class period that I was getting observed in. So very, very nervous. They split themselves into groups, and then I decided, Athenians, Spartans, and Catossians are made up group. So the way I did that was honestly based on their personalities. In most of my classes, the rowdy boys all got together in one group, and I said, fine, you're Spartans. And they were so excited because they got to just be the brutes that they pretend they are. So this second page is literally just to get the kids in order so everybody has a role and they know what they're doing and it helps them be organized. Next, I left this part, with lines down here so they have room to take notes. Everybody had a role. Everybody had something that they were going to research. Even in my larger groups, they doubled up. So, say they both did research, but only one of them was going to present. But they did get with me beforehand to let me know. I did have some students who came to me and they were like, Ms. Carter, I'm really not good with speaking in front of people. I have social anxiety. I was like, honey, that's fine. As long as I know you did the research, you're gonna be fine. Considering you came and talked to me, just make sure somebody else is prepared to help you with your part. So that's how that went. The next page, I had them write, they could either circle if they were an Athenian or a Spartan. I am presenting, and then they put whatever they were responsible for, again, just so I could check that they were doing their part. And so then I gave them a half a page and a full page to basically plan out what they were going to say, a research work area, and they knew that they were going to be graded based on how much they completed that. The Athenians and the Spartans packets are clearly different. This one's a Spartan packet. Again, the big difference is just that it says they're Spartan, but this is where the big differences are. I put these in here so that they would know what to hit on. It says, what luck! The god of war, Ares, has blessed the Spartans with some key points to dwell upon for the debate. Surely these will assist the Spartans in convincing the Catossians to join them. Topics that must be addressed. And then it just goes down the line of essentially what I'm going to ask them questions on. I always ask my students, capiche? Caposh. Capiche? So, that is basically, I said, you have a cheat sheet. Use it, because if you're not prepared on these points, you guys aren't going to do well. So that was very helpful to them. So then wrapping it up, because with this, I knew it was in my best interest to mainly assess them on their writing, because not everybody's going to participate in the debate, and I get that. I have some kids who just can't talk in front of people, and I get it. So on the back, it's the very last page of the packet. It says, now you decide. So you circle which one you were originally, and then I needed 5 to 7 sentences with 3 examples of why you would either want to join the Athenians or the Spartans, and every single group had to do that. So that's a rundown of the groups, and the kids got it really easily, and they jumped into their research, and I was nervous because, you give a kids a little bit of freedom. It could be bad. but they did really well. Some groups I was nervous, but they really brought it home with the debate just because they were confident, and they ended up writing enough in their research and their concluding paragraph to count. And I'll show you the rubric in just a second. So you might be thinking, oh, Miss Carter, like, but that third group, did they just get to ask questions during the debate? No, I had a plan. And so, let's see. This is their packet. Athenians and the Spartans packets were roughly like exactly the same, minus some words. But so the Catossians packet, our made-up group, same front page. They were responsible for putting together a PowerPoint for the next section, which we talked about, which I just did the legend of Europa, basically how the continent of Europe got its name. And so all the directions are on here, everything they need. I wanted 5 to 6 slides. I wanted it to last 5 to 6 minutes. Some groups did really well with this. Others didn't take it seriously and weren't prepared. Be like that, and their grades reflected it. But honestly, the reason why I like doing stuff like this is because if they just do the work, they get a good grade. They're engaging in critical thinking and research skills and forming hypotheses and, making an argument and getting excited through competition. And literally all they had to do was just do it. Just do it. And on the back for the Catossians, they had to tell me about their role as a researcher, tech person, or presenter. And at the bottom, they had to tell me whether or not they would want to be a Spartan and Catossian. And so that's sort of the debate in a nutshell. And I was very nervous. My teacher, I can't even think of the word right now. It's Friday. Starts with a C. Corresponding, that's not what I'm looking for. My corroborating, that's not what I'm looking for. But my teacher that I work with, I could tell that she was like hesitant and nervous. I was like, it's gonna go great. Like telling myself, it's gonna go great. So the day of the debate comes, and guys, every single one of my kids, I say every single one, every single class was engaged. They were debating. I was so proud because the kids would come back with like questions, and they would think on their feet so fast and be able to respond. It went so well. So my advice, if you are a teacher wanting to do this debate, is to give them a shorter amount of time to do research, because that makes them actually do it. I was worried it wouldn't be enough time, but honestly it was plenty of time, especially if their groups are big enough and some of them can work in teams to figure out what they're gonna say. And this is what I told them. I was like, guys, it is not hard to Google Athenian government. It is not hard to Google and read Wikipedia page on Spartan military. And they're like, well, Miss Carter, you're gonna let us use Wikipedia? I'm sorry, because I'm probably offending like every single history teacher on the face of the planet. But Athenian culture, Spartan culture is not changing. Wikipedia is fine. I told them if we were doing an extensive real research paper, they couldn't use Wikipedia. But come on, like, Wiki is fine for just your general information. It is not changing. It's not like, classified information that we're going to find something new about. It is pretty much set in stone. So I was totally fine with that. And so I'm not going to show you guys my rubrics because they're boring, but so my rubrics for my Athenians and Spartans, 75% of what I graded them on was how much they wrote in that packet. If they gave me 5 to 7 sentences telling me about how wonderful Sparta is, they got the points for that. If they weren't disruptive during the debate and actively were engaged, a lot of my kids got hundreds just because they did it. My kids who didn't get hundreds either didn't bother to write anything down, or that's about it. Like literally, you got not a 0. I didn't give anybody a 0 unless they didn't turn it in. But you got a 50 because you wouldn't write 5 to 7 sentences. Like, people, if you're getting a 0 or a 50 or even a 70, you earned it. Overall, though, it went so well. I had one class that my boys were a little too crazy in, but that was sort of to be expected. But they still did a lot better than I thought they were going to. My observation went wonderfully. My supervising teacher was like, oh, that was really good. And I was like, thank you. And then afterwards, my teacher that I work with, she was like, I was really nervous, but it went really, really well. And I was like, I know, thank you. So yeah, it went really, really well. I'm very, very proud of my kids, and I told them that. I gave them each handwritten feedback on what their strengths were, and if they got a 50, why they got a 50. So it took a long time to grade, because I have like 100 and something kids, but it was worth it because the ones who did well needed to know like how well they did. I definitely had some shining stars that I had never really noticed before, and I mean, I was so, so proud at the end of Wednesday, which is when I got observed when we did it. Like, I will definitely be doing more projects like that, and I am very excited for it. So if you guys hung in for this long, make sure you like this video, subscribe. I can't wait to come to you guys with more education videos, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.